Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another live episode of The Slave Chef. As always, behind the camera is my wife, Mary. For tonight's episode, we will be preparing pork bulgogi. Pork bulgogi is a Korean dish. It's flavorful and spicy and delicious. So what we did ahead of time is we cut up our onion, ginger, pear, garlic, gochujang paste, or powder, which is a spicy red pepper powder that you can purchase at a lot of Asian grocery stores. We added some salt, some white pepper, some soy.
Toasted sesame and tamari.
Toasted sesame seed, toasted sesame, tamari.
And a splash of rice vinegar.
And a splash of rice vinegar to a roboku. And we blended that up, and we used that to make a marinade. Then we took some pork tenderloins, which we, first we cleaned them. We cleaned them by removing silver skin from the top, which we'll show you how to do in an upcoming video. And then we butterflied the pork tenderloins, so we basically cut them in half to make them thinner. To be able to, we cut them into half-inch strips, and then we went from there. We went ahead and marinated them. I like to use storage bags for marinades. They're a great item to use when you're doing a marinade because they allow you to basically take your item, take your protein, and just mix it around. Make sure you're sealed up, but you can just mix it and get a nice incorporation. So we let that sit in the fridge for about 3 to 4 hours. You can go longer. And then over on our pan here, we've got some extra virgin olive oil heating up. We're at about a medium heat. So I'll just crack these open. Smells delicious. Crack this open. Pop it right into our pan here. So the reason we cut our pork very thin is to allow it to cook quickly. Alright, so I'm adding a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper to our dish here. Hope everybody's doing well out there tonight. So a couple notes about this dish. One, this is something you can prep ahead of time and just pull out, and I'd recommend pulling out of the fridge about 10 to 15 minutes before you actually cook it to allow it to come up the room, to allow the pork to come up to room temperature. So we added gochujang powder to the marinade. It's important to know with gochujang powder, it's very spicy. So if you want, you could always modify that heat by adding, backing off and adding some cayenne if you want. If you want to go spicier, you can always go spicier. It's really a matter of your own preference. All right, so pork tenderloin especially is a great protein to use for this dish. I like using pork tenderloin because pork tenderloin is a leaner cut. Tenderloin comes from the back of the pig. Same thing like beef tenderloin, etc. always comes from the back of the spine of the animal, right up against that spine. So it's a very lean, very protein-rich cut of beef or cut of pork. Very easy to prepare. As always, if anybody has any suggestions, food they'd like to see cooked, items they are curious about, how do I prepare this? What can I do with that? What can I eat? What can't I eat? We're always here to take questions. All right, so this is a good example of what not to do. So what do I mean exactly? Well, I overloaded this pan. Problem is, when you overload a saute pan, it means you put too much product, too much protein, vegetables, etc. into the pan. What it does is it slows down the whole cook time for this dish. So, how do we rectify the situation? Well, first thing we want to do is we want to put another pan on. We're going to simply divide up our pork between the two pans. So another cast iron skillet on here. Add a little bit more extra virgin olive oil. Wait for this to get a little hot. All right, does anybody have any questions while we're waiting for this meat to finish cooking? All righty. The dogs are anxiously awaiting the finished product. Sorry guys, this is too spicy for you. You would not be very happy hoons if we give this to you. There we go. That's better. You want to have your protein evenly distributed throughout your pan here. It'll cook more evenly, it'll cook quickly.
I have a question. How many pounds of pork we're using?
That's a great question. So we are using 2 pounds of pork. Serving size will be 4 ounces. You'll get about 20 to 25 grams of protein per 4-ounce serving. We are using pork tenderloins. Who's the question from?
Sharonda Harris.
Hi, Sharonda. And just to show everybody what we're looking for our size of our slices, about 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch thick. Sorry, about 1/4 inch thick. My wife and I both love spicy food, especially on a cold, wet, rainy day like today. It's a great, great item to make. All right, so give a quick recap here while we're waiting for our pork to finish cooking. We started out by making our marinade for our pork bulgogi, which our marinade consisted of half an inch of ginger, 1 onion, 1 pear that we seeded and diced up. All 3 of those were put into a Roboku, a food processor. They were ground.
With garlic.
Yes, with garlic as well. And then we added some tamari. We added some gochujang powder, which is a spicy red pepper powder, which you can find at local Asian grocery stores. And then we added some white pepper and some rice wine vinegar and some, I said tamari.
Toasted sesame.
And toasted sesame oil as well. And then we cleaned our pork tenderloins. We'll actually create a video on how to clean those pork tenderloins at a later date. Show you how to do that. Very, very straightforward, very simple. Then we butterflied them, so we got them, so they're about an inch and a half thick initially, and then we butterflied them to spread them out and make them flatter. So they're sitting a little bit bigger, they're sitting about ½ inch. All right, we're looking good. So in case you're just tuning in as well, this is a really good learning experience. So the mistake I made initially is I overloaded the first pan. Now what do I mean by I overloaded the pan? Well, simply put, I added too much protein to a pan. So not all the protein was coming in contact with the bottom of the pan, which was not causing it to cook evenly. So there's one of 2 ways to avoid doing this. One, not put as much protein into the pan, or 2, if you put too much protein into it, simply put on another pan, add some olive oil to it, add some fat to it, and then simply add your pork or your other protein back in there.
So we have a question.
Yes.
Sharonda Harris asks again, has another question. She wants to know, can you use any kind of rice wine? I think she's referring to rice wine vinegar.
Yeah, so you can use, it's really rice wine vinegar is what we're putting in there. Really any rice wine vinegar will work. All right. We are just about finished cooking here.
We will have tons of leftovers.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of leftovers. All right, let me go ahead and plate up. The plating for this is super simple as well. We're going to grab our pork and go right into our dish. Boom, there we go.
Don't forget the kimchi.
There we go. Don't forget the kimchi. For those of you unfamiliar with kimchi, kimchi is a spicy, marinated cabbage.
It's pickled.
Sorry, pickled cabbage. Finish it off with a little bit of kimchi on top. And there you have it. That is our spicy pork bulgogi, topped with some fresh kimchi. You'll get about 20 to 25 grams of protein per 4 ounces. Again, we used a lean cut of meat. In this case, we used pork tenderloin for our protein. We used our marinade, which consisted of onion, ginger, garlic, pear that we ground up in a Roboku, to which we added some white pepper. We added some tamari. We added some toasted sesame oil. We added a little white pepper, I already said.
Rice wine vinegar.
And finally, rice wine vinegar. We mixed that up, and we added that with our pork that we thinly sliced, put it into a storage bag, and just give it a nice toss to make sure that pork is fully coated. Make sure your bag is sealed, of course. Pop your bag in the refrigerator, 3 to 4 hours. You can go longer if you want. I don't recommend going longer than 24 hours. And then bring it out, get your pans on, nice and medium-high heat. Saute your pork bulgogi in your saute pan. Thank you very much for tuning in to another live episode of The Sleeve Chef, everyone. Check us out online, thesleevechef.com. We're also on Instagram, at thesleevechef in MD.
Sleeve Chef in MD.
Sleeve Chef in MD. I'm just messing up tonight, aren't I? Yay! Super fun. Outside of that, everything is good. Check us out on YouTube as well, Sleeve Chef. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great rest of the night. Goodbye.